Hello everyone, welcome to Mr. Hancock's English. Today, this video is going to address directly the inside Unit 1 going into the module for analytical essay writing. So I'm going into that handout itself. Now, of course, these handouts are supplemental to the textbook, so make sure you read and study the chapters in the textbooks. But I want to go into this just for a minute and talk just what we're doing as far as what analytical writing is and what its argument is. So this may take a couple of parts to it, but let's just do part one at least right now. Let's see how far we can go. Number one is, regardless if this is literature, short story, poetry, what have you, you're writing an argumentative essay. So you have to think about what you're doing as far as argument. And you need three things when it comes to argument. And this isn't necessarily in the handout, I'm just talking here. When it comes to an argument, you need a topic. All of your stories have topics. Those are general subjects where people can form differing opinions, okay? So whether it be about the things they carried, it could be heroism inside of everyday use, it could be cultural identity and so on. So any of those are just subjects. Those are topics. People can formulate differing opinions about them, but that is a topic. You have to have a topic. Otherwise, you can't have something to base your opinion on. The second part of an argument is you must have an opinion. This is not the type of paper where you're just going to present evidence to the reader and say, hey, now you pick. What do you think? And that's not where we're going with this. You have to come in specifically and say, this is what I think is happening. This is my opinion, and this is what I'm going to convince you to believe, or at least see the validity within it. And then the third part, the most important part, is you have to come in and you have to present to the reader evidence. This is what your body is going to be based on. This is what the C method will work inside of, and we'll definitely have a video on that. You must come in and say, all right, this is my evidence. I'm going to give you in each body paragraph a piece of evidence that proves my point, and I'm going to explain how that proves my point. That is what you need within an argument. You must have a topic. You must have a stance in which you're going to persuade your reader to believe, or at least see the validity within it. And then you're going to provide evidence and explain how that evidence proves the case. That's something we're really going to focus on. So with that being said, let's take a look at this handout. Right off the bat, you'll see in the Composition 2 Analytical Essay Writing handout that you have the scientific method on the left. And so the reason I do this is for those of you who may hate or really dislike writing about literature. And the thing is that I was looking for my book. Anyway, a lot of people think I hate writing about literature, I hate reading it, so I really don't know how to do it. But they may have a really scientific approach to things, really like math and science. Well, the thing is to show you that regardless if it's literature or not, you will approach your writing process in the scientific method. So on the left side, you'll see the scientific method. On the right side, it'll be, I'm actually translating that over to see how each one of those steps works within your writing process. So obviously, let's go through these really quick. Number one, you ask a question. You always approach your readings with a question. And I say, and I've said this before in the handout for the assignment, what is this story teaching us about blank? And you can fill your blank in with whatever topic you're thinking at the time. And something we'll see in the theme handout, and before that, the question funnel. And you'll see more about that more as we go. But you start with very broad, vague questions. And the further you go and the further you try to answer those questions, the more specific those questions become, to the point where you are able to have a very fine-tuned, specific question that can turn into a hypothesis, which is your third bullet. I'm going to skip the research part. That's the reviewing the literature, seeing what other people are thinking, just doing basic research, just see what's going on in that topic and see what people are saying. We'll cover that later when we get into a research paper. With the short story analysis where you have no outside sources, you don't have to really worry about that. Constructing a hypothesis, this is important because what we have here, this is a thesis, but it's not a thesis yet. Before you can say, yes, I'm going to use this as a thesis, you have to test it. You have to make sure you have enough evidence to write an entire paper with it before you devote your time and energy into it. So that's what the next green bubble is, testing your hypothesis by doing an experiment. This is you, through the form of a rough outline, really, is you're going in and you're seeing how how each piece of evidence that you have, if you can turn it into a body paragraph, if you have enough evidence to support that idea. If you do, which is the blue bubble, you analyze your data and draw a conclusion. If you do, yes, you go forward to the last bubble, report your results, start drafting. If you don't, you have to go back and see what's lacking. But I promise you this, a lot of people don't like to do these because they feel like it's just a waste of time. They already know what they got, just let me do it. But I promise you, from experience and seeing it on both sides of the fence, this saves you time and energy, and it will give you a better product at the end. Because how many times have you ever stared at a computer screen thinking, oh, what do I write next? I don't know what to write next. This gets it laid out. That's why an outline is so important, especially when we're going these larger, more complex research papers. It tells us what we're going to do in each body paragraph precisely. So when you do sit down to draft it, you know exactly what you have. So this is very helpful, okay? Go back through this, read through this. I'm going to stop here and move to part 2 about this handout. So obviously, if you have any questions, please let me know.